My name is Christina. I live in Dartmouth. I've been here about 10 years. I work for IWK Health Center. I sterilize the instruments for the OR. It's very challenging and it's fun. I'm proud of myself for getting this job. It took me a long time to get in such a position. You know, mother of 2 young kids, a single mother, and to come this far. Yeah, I've done well.
I'm Susan Gill, president of Unifor Local 4600 out of Cape Breton. I'm a medical laboratory technologist at the Cape Breton Regional Hospital in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I first heard about Bill 1 probably in late August of last year. The government was going to introduce legislation to break down the 9 district health authorities in this province and merge them into one.
Part of Bill 1 mandated that the nearly 50 collective agreements be merged into just 4. The government refused a proposal for collaborative bargaining from the 4 healthcare unions.
Suddenly, we had a government coming in here dictating to us what union we could belong to and what our benefits were going to be. Sure, it was undemocratic. I put my members on a lousy old Bluebird bus and sent them here, and we spent a week on the street protesting this bill from Monday to Friday. We all have the same goal at the end of the day. We want to stay with our own union and protect our own democratic rights.
We all went down to Legislator downtown Halifax. People from far as Cape Breton, Truro, every sector was down there. There was firefighters, police. So we had a good turnout.
It was absolutely amazing to stand here and see a sea of red, and it really gave us the strength to keep going. Our members rallied, they wrote letters, they did whatever they could to have their voices heard. Victory for the unions came in early March.
After months of activism from Unifor and the other healthcare unions, the Liberal government was forced to abandon their anti-union legislation.
And at the end of the day, all the members still belong to the same union that they belonged to 6 months prior.
I think I was floating when I went into work. I had the biggest smile of all, and I reassured everyone that we were safe.
Solidarity is an amazing thing. When we needed members, they came from every sector, every area, and surrounding provinces and stood on the street with us to fight back. Unifor represents less than 10% of the healthcare workers in this province. You would never know that. We definitely punch above our weight.
In search and rescue on the BC coast, speed is important. You need to get there as quickly as you can. This part of the coast, BC and Washington State, is known as the graveyard of the Pacific. And they have over 3,500 marine incidents each year. The marine communications officers regulate shipping, we provide weather information, and we also monitor for distress calls. The nearest comparison I can give is something like air traffic control.
It's not just about safety and shipping traffic, it's also about the environment and being able to respond quickly to oil spills, such as this one in Vancouver at the beginning of April 2015.
What I like about my job mostly is that I'm in a position to help people, and I feel I'm making a difference to people out on the water. The Marine Communications Centres, we had 5 in BC, are being reduced down to 2 only. 1 in Prince Rupert, 1 in Victoria. With the old system having those 2 plus Ucluelet, Comox, and Vancouver, if one station went down, there would always be a backup plan. Now there is no backup plan. There's no one to catch that wayward call if one of the main stations has an outage.
The closure of Coast Guard bases has severely endangered Canada's coasts and the people who live and work on them. Unifor has launched a campaign to bring attention to the significance of these closures and to demand action to ensure the safety of Canada's coasts is re-established.
This year alone, St. John's, Newfoundland, St. John, New Brunswick, in this great province of BC, the station Ucluelet also closed. And now today, the eyes and ears of the Vancouver waterway overlooking the harbor is closed and will be no more. This drastic reduction of essential services was done to save nothing but money. And you want to know how little money it's costing to keep us open? $5 million annually to keep 10 centers across the country open.
Everything is downward driven from Ottawa, and we are the ones that deliver those services to Canadians. And yet we're the last people that are ever consulted about how to improve that service delivery that they expect from their Canadian Coast Guard.
My son is autistic. He has Asperger's syndrome, and he's also bipolar, so he has some mental illness. And we've utilized many of the services that United Way funds.
Always a union activist, Krista attended a Unifor meeting where the United Way was making a presentation. Seeing a list of agencies aided by the United Way, she realized her family had used a number of them. She decided to share her own story with Unifor members.
Well, talking about mental illness is very difficult. There's a lot of stigma attached to that, and because it was a child being abusive physically and mentally, emotionally against parents, it's an even harder situation to talk about. As a parent, you blame yourself. And so I never really talked to my coworkers about it. I was embarrassed. So when I did that speech, a lot of my fellow workers came up to me afterwards and told me their own personal stories. It got the dialogue moving and people started talking more.
Krista now speaks regularly for the United Way, presenting her own story to union and community groups to garner support for United Way agencies.
The involvement of union members, Unifor, whatever union, we need them desperately. Krista is a shining example of being able to take a situation in her own life and turn it around for the betterment of the community, because that's really what she does for us each and every day that she speaks about the work of the United Way.
Across the country, Unifor locals are actively involved in their local United Way campaigns, raising millions of dollars that support vital programs in our communities.
It's important to be part of a community, and Unifor is providing that environment for a lot of people. And I think by being involved like that, we're promoting the positive aspects of being a member of a union.
This is where we did our canvassing. This was our riding here in the Millwoods area. We were working for Christina Gray, our airport representative for Unifor. Laura posted something on the internet on our union page about wanting volunteers to help out for the day. We set out to canvass. We were given a list of houses to visit. We were given a list of streets to visit. And all 4 or 5 streets just so happened to be in this area actually where I do live.
I was running up against the finance minister, and I knew that that was going to be a tough sell. You could feel that it was changing. I had PC supporters. They were coming up to me and wished me well.
It's so amazing, and to sit there as the vote was coming in, and NDP, NDP, NDP after 40-some years of PC government was, again, surreal. It was amazing.
A better Alberta is within reach. For the first time in a generation, Albertans have a real choice.
We are standing at the Alberta Legislature grounds. I feel a little proud. I feel a little proud that this is now part of our lives, this legislature. It wasn't before, but it is now.
That we did something, that we were part of making this happen. We had a vacancy in our local, so I put my name in, and now I'm the vice chair.
And we did put our names in for, anything else that you've got, throw it at us and we'll be there.
Like, this experience has made us eager volunteers for anything the union can throw at us.
The aviation workers at Initech were members of a small independent union. When the company expanded, the relationship between workers and employer went downhill.
Au fil des années, la compagnie a évolué. C'était environ 300 travailleurs.
Dans les dernières années, je pense, ils ont toujours essayé d'avoir le gros bout du bâton par rapport aux négociations. Ouais. Fait qu'on s'est dit pourquoi pas mettre un petit peu plus de poids de notre côté. Et puis, Unifor avait déjà tout le marché regroupant les entreprises d'aérospatiales au sein de leur compagnie. Donc, c'est sûr et certain que ça s'avérait une décision éclairée.
In the fall of 2014, the workers voted 82% in favor of entering a one-year service contract with Unifor.
En ayant un représentant d'Unifor assis directement à la table de négociation avec nous autres, ça a comme changé un peu la perception aussi de l'association. Puis on a été d'autant plus surpris de voir une personne, dans le fond, de l'extérieur, même d'arriver d'une grosse centrale syndicale.
Et c'est le jour et la nuit. C'est que maintenant, on est outillé avec Unifor pour sous-peser toute question arrivant sur la table.
Et qu'est-ce que j'ai pu remarquer, c'est que l'exécutif, présentement, a pris plus d'assurance. Et ils bougent un petit peu plus, vu qu'ils sont guidés par Unifor. Puis là, ils savent exactement les lois. Bien, ils peuvent bouger plus facilement que laisser en nous-mêmes. Depuis qu'ils sont rentrés, les membres ont plus confiance.
After this round of negotiations, the workers at Initac will vote to become members of Unifor.
Et puis on espère, sûr et certain, qu'ils vont devenir membres en totalité du syndicat de Unifor.
Jusqu'à maintenant, notre expérience avec Unifor direct est excellente. Puis on peut juste souhaiter que nos membres vont faire le bon choix quand que le temps va être venu pour eux de décider réellement.
My name's Augustine Brito. I work for facilities management at UNB. I'm a tractor driver.
My name is Karen Annett. I am administrator for electrical and computer engineering at the University of New Brunswick. The UNB employees have been members of a union, but independent and local, specific to our campus. And it was quite obvious we needed help to maximize our bargaining. So the logical conclusion was to investigate national affiliation, and we actually considered 6 different unions. We have a diverse group on our campus, from office to librarians to skilled trade and laborers, and so we wanted a group that would represent our whole. We really liked what Unifor stood for. I personally like the premise of the Union for All People, the social justice. That philosophy in sort of helping people is really important.
And of course, it was almost unanimous. It was moved forward with the Unifor. And it's just like a dark cloud just lifted right off the whole group. It was an unbelievable feeling, but it was a positive step in the right direction. When we come back to work the following day, it was a different atmosphere altogether. This is the whole union committee right here. People are starting to get involved, which is really great. Turnouts at the meetings, we've had some record turnouts, which I hope it keeps going. They understand that they have a voice and it's important, and they're just as important as anybody else. At the end of the day, it's respect, and everybody deserves that, both sides. And with this union, we're moving forward in the right direction.
I love the direction that Unifor has taken.
To me, the heart of being a union is just standing up for the little guy, and when you see people being bullied around, that you stand up for it and you get people to stand together.
Je pense que pour la majorité des employés, le respect comme travailleur.
I'm very excited about Unifor. Strength is in numbers, and to have a body this size can have huge impact.
People who are so involved in change, who are actually going to make a difference.
And the more people, the more voices, the stronger the message.
Unifor is my union. I am very proud to be a Unifor member. I think it's the greatest union of all. I do.